for Wicked Spursy.
Hey, this is Wicked Spursy, Mike, Steve, and on my shirt, I have decided to name this dragon Dave for old time's sake, just so I can say that we've got Mike, Steve, and Dave. Dave, of course, is with us in spirit as always. But yeah, we are here following, I don't know, a dumpster fire, car wreck, train wreck. I'm not entirely sure what that was, but we're here. We're here, and it is for me Miller time. That one's for you, Mike. I just wanted to say it says on the can established 1903, which after that game kind of feels like the last time Spurs were good. But
Were they
more on
even
that
good
in a
in
bit.
03?
Yeah, 1903. More on that in a bit, though. Mike, how are you? It's good to see you.
Listen, listen, Linda. Um, I don't know, Steve. I feel like um I'm all out of fucks to give. Um, it's I okay. So my wife let me know like last minute that she and Lily were going to the school musical, right? And so then she's like, "Hey, you got to bring Lucas to practice," and I'm like, "No," but yeah, I brought Lucas to practice. So I brought Lucas to practice. I got to enjoy watching him play. They basically scrimmaged because it was their last indoor practice of the year, so they basically scrimmaged the whole time. It was fun.
Nice.
And then I was racing home to get here to do this podcast at 5 p.m. And here we are starting at 5:10. However, I hit every single red light that you could possibly hit on the way home from Essex, Vermont, and and I pull in and find out that we're having tacos for dinner. So my mood eventually, like the second I heard we were having tacos for dinner, it just changed. It just changed. It was a rough morning. Got a little better. Got a little worse. Got a little better. So now we're happy. I think I'm in a good mood. I think I'm in a good mood.
You think?
I
Well,
think.
let's see if we can get some talk therapy going, and hopefully by the end of this, we will all be in a good mood.
Why not?
Because yeah, it was a rough start to the day, huh?
It was.
Yeah, to say the least. I mean, look, we could analyze the game. I think we're gonna fall onto some of the similar talking points that we've done recently: lethargic, unmotivated, lazy, lost, clueless. It's just I'm tired, man. I am so tired of knowing that this is what we're going to get. And so I want to try to buck that a bit and to the best of our ability, let's try to focus on some bright, shining lights rather than talk about Ange's shit tactics and how it all imploded and individual mistakes and Ange being delusional enough to think that, oh, well, we played well. I'm going down that track already. I don't want to do it. Tell me about something good. Who was good? Who caught your eye for good reasons?
Matty Tell is fast.
Matty Tell, yeah. I
He
you know what?
actually, yeah. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what. Matty Tell, like, I mean, he was kind of. I thought he was a kind of a brighter light in the match. I think that that left side was really good. Like the way that Spence and Tell played off each other, I thought was pretty good. Matty Tell's super fast. He's willing to take a guy on, and he turned what was a pretty fucking terrible cross into a goal.
Yeah,
That's a bright thing. I mean, here's caveat is that we might not have him next year.
Yeah, I know that there were some reports saying that Spurs want to sign him on a permanent because they're impressed with him. But look, if I'm him,
Doesn't he have the option to not?
yes.
Okay,
So
that
I mean, there's a lot of what ifs, and you know what? I would love to have him under a proper manager next season. Um, but it's I just don't know why he would sign off for coming on a permanence. I mean, even if he's not going to be in Bayern's plans at all, I'm sure there would be better options for him. The only thing that I think that could keep him is the camaraderie that maybe he builds up. I know Odebear and him are friends from the French U21s.
the French
So
connection.
maybe that helps a little bit. There's clear indications that there are bright spots for the future with players like Bergval, who again I think is just an incredible talent. um, but there is one thing that I want to talk about real quick as it pertains to Tell, because I don't quite know what to make of it. Did you know that he was the player who was interviewed in the post match?
Um, no,
Yeah, yeah, he was the guy that went out there and spoke to the media, and I can't help but think.
I didn't see any of the media. I went directly into watching my F1 race. So
Yeah, fair. No, I saw a bunch of stuff going around Reddit and social media, but yeah, Tell was he was the player who went out and spoke to the media, and I gotta say, what a bad look that is. You just got humbled in an embarrassing fashion, and who do you send out? You send out the what 19-year-old Loney to talk to the media. No captains, no senior players. Like that's the one.
can I tell you why you didn't see a captain?
Because we don't have one.
Because he fucking tromped off the field like a fucking baby.
Oh yeah, Romero. Yeah, that was absolutely embarrassing. I mean, look, we all
Anyway,
know he's checked
we're
out,
focusing
right?
on the bright spots.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Bright spots, bright spots. Bergval, Decky's back. No injuries there. Richarlison has something like a goal involvement every 93 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Granted, that's like, 7 months between, game times, but
Okay, so let's talk about it. I mean, outside of Vicario throwing the ball into his own net, no, essentially it's what he did. He basically threw it at Jed Spence and it went off Jed, so it's Jed's goal. Um,
you know what's funny about
the
that,
Romero
though?
one, the Romero one, I'm blaming on. I'm 100% blaming on Bentancur. I mean, we so balls that when we are. I'll tell you the good things here that happened. Spurs were very good when they had the ball to the outside of the pitch. We have no midfield, right? Um, so when we have the ball to the outside of the pitch, our ball progression is really good. Um, because we have quick players on the outsides. Archie Gray's a really good passer, so he was for some reason is on the right hand side of that. That- I mean, there's nothing that says we don't care about the league more than playing players wildly out of position. I mean, wildly out of position for even a player who is already wildly out of position for most of the season. Um,
Yep,
So, like Ange, I think Ange coming in and just kind of saying, fuck the league, because we don't have a shot at it anyway. They had a minorly realistic shot at 11th, 12th. Um, Not now, but we'll be lucky if we end up in 17th. But I think that when you're a manager and you're going out there and you're giving up on a competition that you're still in, the players see that. The players understand, and it goes into a player's mentality. No matter what kind of a professional mental ability that you have as a player to overcome obstacles. When you don't see that in your quote unquote leader, you got nothing. You got nothing. And that's
It's
why they
funny.
played the way they did. But like, I'm just tired of watching them try and progress the ball through the middle when they know that they have no midfielders to do that.
It's funny though, because you listen to some of the comments that Ange has made, and he talks about, oh, we need to manage players' minutes, we need to keep people fresh. And I'm sitting here like, now is not the fucking time to
That
do
would have
that.
been great in October.
Yeah, when we were in four different competitions and desperately needed that rotation to prevent injuries. But I guess the guy made it to fucking 65 years old or however the fuck old he is without realizing that uh, this is something that you should probably do to prevent injuries. It seems like a revolutionary idea now, but I think you're spot on, Mike. I think it's a clear indication that he's got one priority, and it's Europa League. And I don't even feel good about that. Even with players like Decky coming back, even with Bergval being on a high, and letting Sun rest, although he apparently had a foot injury or something or a knock or whatever it was. Um, but even with the rotation, even with the clear emphasis on pushing for Europa, I still don't think he's going to navigate that. I could see us in a situation where we are down 1-0 with 25 minutes to go in Germany on Thursday, and I just don't know where the inspiration comes from. Like I don't know that he is able to substitute on a player in a way that creates a brilliant opportunity. Maybe if he were to bring Johnson on as a super sub, that might be a fun one, but I think Johnson's probably starting. Um, but outside of that, I just with the way he's approached games and with the way he's made these subs lately, if we're down 1-0 with 25 to play in a must-win game to progress in Europe, I just don't feel confident that Ange is going to get us there. I just don't think the players give a shit enough to back him when we're up against a corner. Like obviously Ange is a huge piece in the turmoil that we've got right now, but you see players are giving up too. And when you've lost the players and the manager, you're just fucked. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope that they actually do care deeply about a deep cup run. I can't see it. And a lot of the body language, a lot of the reactions from today's game, especially from people who are supposed to be leaders in the team, it's just I don't feel good, man. I do not feel good about it.
Well, I mean, we have a few weeks left here in this competition. We have a few weeks. We have possibly a few days left in the European competition. So, I mean, so it's hard to kind of sit here and analyze the game that we just played. Excuse me, based on the performance that we just put on, right? Um, but you're right. There are some bright spots out there, but I think that like if we're going to talk about this team moving forward, we have to start talking about um, who are the pieces that are going to be there in the future. What kind of what kind of team are we looking for? And you can't really analyze that either because we don't know what we're going to have for a coach. We don't know if we'll have a coach by Friday, right? By
I mean, it's
Friday,
fair. It's
by
fair.
Friday, do you let Mason and who's the other guy that's on the bench there with him? Do you let them take over? Do you let somebody like Sonny take over as a manager
Player
slash
coach.
player like in the 1930s? Um, I mean, what what do you do in this situation? Like at this point, you might as well just get rid of the manager. I don't see why we didn't already get rid of him. It's because we're in the Europa League. W- uh, something has to change. I mean, Spurs have become in it. it's kind of like a become a cliche now. It's like Spurs have become easy to play against, right? They've been
Absolutely.
figured out, and we saw some glimpses. You know what I was thinking too, Steve, was that every once in a while you see glimpses, right, of like what Ange Ball can be, what we thought it was, what the stuff that we saw early on, right? And there was some brilliance in that, but you know, we kind of need to get past the fact that like maybe guys like Gary Neville were right, that this is never going to work in the Premier League. Shit like this is never going to work in the Premier League. Um, the Robbies said it, and they were impressed at first, but like Spurs have become easy to play against. They've been figured out, and where do you go from there? I mean, if you change things up, does it make it tougher to play against Spurs because teams don't know what they have? You know, you bring in a manager, you bring in a different manager with different style, different tactics. Does that get fucked up because of the fact that we don't have the players to play in the system that this new manager wants? So that's going to be a project, and you think you're bringing in the right players for that project, but maybe you're not. Are these players that we actually have really actually good? There's a number of questions. Are they? We think they're really good based on the fact that they finished, most of them on this team finished fifth last year. Um, and and I was thinking about it, Steve, and I almost think this team was playing better and it was more exciting when we were in the middle of an injury crisis.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's tough, right? Because I feel like they could be brave, right? Because there was a built-in excuse. There's an injury crisis. If we fuck up, we fuck up. We'll just blame injuries, right? But now there is no excuse, and now it's tepid. It's just not entertaining. And I know one of the big fears that people have is the manager circus, and there's something to be said about that, right? How many managers since Levy's been in charge and we've won fuck all for it. So I get that for sure. But at the same time, I just am not inspired by what I see anymore. I stood behind Ange for so long because you could see that, hey, you know what? This could work. This could be fun. This could be great. But the last few games have just been abysmal. They've been hard to watch. They've been painful. I don't have faith in him anymore. And I do think that if he does not progress on Thursday, he is gone by Friday. I think the only reason that he isn't gone already is because Daniel Levy's afraid to do to
what he
him
did
what
to
he did to
Mourinho.
Jose.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I would take Jose back in a second.
Yeah.
He's burning bridges at Fenerbahce, right? Like, so, I mean,
I mean, that's just kind of what he does, right? Burns
yeah,
bridges.
he burns bridges. I'll take him back.
But no, I think we're gonna get somebody. We're gonna get a different option. I think as fans, we have to keep in mind a couple of things, right? We're starting a rebuild over again. That's got to happen, and it sucks. It really does. But I personally, I'm at the point where even if we were to give Ange another season, and more transfers, more money thrown at the problem. I just am not seeing a confident coach. I'm not seeing somebody who inspires. Whatever magic he had out there for a while seems all but dried up now for me. And that's not something I want to continue. I would rather we start the rebuild again with somebody. What did I say last week? I want somebody who's just like fucking coked up out of his mind, is just a complete mentality monster. Somebody who's like, just so on their own planet that if you tell them it's impossible, they're gonna fucking run headfirst into that wall to try to make it happen anyway. Because that to me would be fun. That would be an enjoyable watch. It might not work, but at least it would be better than somebody who's being combative and throwing a little temper tantrum anytime. This is the same guy who said, "Oh, criticism bounces off me. I don't buy into it's the fans that get to decide." Well, the fans are saying they're not happy, and what have you done about it? Fucking nothing. So
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's something that I've been complaining about for a long time. I mean, listen to us. We wanted to start off on a positive. And it came to where we are right now.
I'm positive that I do not want Ange managing us next season.
Yeah.
And look, I like the guy. I think he's a cool person. I would have dinner with him. I'd have a beer with him. Absolutely. I just don't think he's right to manage the club right now.
Listen, I think his philosophy on life and his philosophy in football is correct too, right? But like he did let Tottenham get to him. He let Tottenham break him.
Are we just cursed? We seem to break everybody.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, okay, so here's the thing. We could talk about Ange out all we want. We could talk about, Levy out all we want. But if Levy brings him back next year, Levy's got a whole other problem on his hands because I think you're looking at probably 90% of fans want him gone. Um, Especially the away fans, the people who go out there and they travel with the team, or the people that come from other places that can't get down to London, or can't get over to London. Like the easiest place they can get is like Bournemouth, right, or somewhere in the north, right, you know and so I mean, the those fans are the ones who are like the real fans. I mean, you have your match going fans, your season ticket holding fans, like in and around London, who go to every single home match. But like the people who go to those every single home matches and then travel, or those people that want to see that want to see their favorite team play, um, but can't get down to London. Like those are the real diehard fans. Um, and you always see like in the in this is kind of like one of the hallmarks of this podcast too, is like we talk about American sports, and we talk about this game that we're watching, this soccer that we're watching, um you know kind of on a level with American sports, where you see teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Dallas Cowboys, and we say that they travel well, right? They're the best traveling fans. There's always thousands and thousands of traveling fans for those games. Those are the people, like when you go out there as a team and you put out a shit performance, those are the people that whose opinion really matters. you know our opinion over across the pond, as they say, doesn't really fucking matter, right?
Yeah, I guess.
What matters are the people that spend all the money. I mean, we're sitting here shouting into the void right now, with our dozens of fans, but
There's dozens of us.
there's dozens of us, even hundreds when we get somebody like Ricky or Wendy on, right? So it's like, um, but I think that the real fans, the real big fans, are those away match going fans, and when you lose those fans, you've lost the entire fan base.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a apt observation. You need to rely on support, right? Supporters help. The atmosphere can lift the team. You can get behind them. You can really, what do they call Seattle Sounders, right? They call the 12th man. Um,
Well, yeah, I mean that's all Seattle sports. Like,
yeah, but I'm keeping it soccer related.
okay, okay. Well, it's yeah. I mean,
But yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like you need the fans behind you. And if you're going to be constantly fighting with them, making excuses, and I'm not even just talking about Ange specifically. I'm talking about some of the players as well who just don't show up. They're, clearly checked out. They've got one foot either out the door or looking for a little vacation time at the end of the season. That just reflects, like, how do you expect fans to want to support that? How, if I was there at the game and I saw some of the really slow movement through the midfield, some of the um oh, there's a ball over there, I should, maybe do something about that. I would feel like I wasted my money. I would feel like I completely could have been doing something better with my time, you know? And
That's another piece of it, Steve, too. You're absolutely right. That's another piece of it, right? Is like there's like a lack of any real cohesion. So you don't like you want to go watch Ange Ball, but you don't know what Ange Ball looks like because they're not playing it. They're just not playing Ange Ball. They're not playing exciting football. They're not playing front foot, fast paced, fast moving, pressing, football. Um, what they're doing is they're playing like a slow version, a slow like training practice version of it.
dude, I've coached U10s that reacts to the ball faster than they do.
now
It's
you'll be roughing them.
yeah, that I will. That I will. Um, and man, I can't help but wonder why. You know, do they not have pride in themselves, the players? Do they not want to go out there and show that they can be a game changer, that they can is their mentality really that shit?
I mean, possibly. Like I said to start this is like when you see that your manager has given up, you're likely to give up too.
Which, you know, I get that. Maybe it's just a personality thing because, you know, when I played, I was typically always on the worst teams. Um, just because I only ever played like
Best
in the
player on the worst
collegiate,
team?
huh?
Best player on the worst team?
Depends on the day, but
Okay. Okay.
I I actually enjoyed playing with it because you know they were players who even if we were losing, they were out there having fun and really trying hard and you know I just can't imagine being in a team and seeing teammates who just don't care and you know they're not going to put the effort in because that's just disheartening. It would make me feel like I need to do more and I would break myself trying. And maybe that's what happened with some of our players who have been you know hit by injury. They're just doing too much themselves because nobody else is. Um, which sucks. You know, that's not a good feeling. But there, I mean, to me, it's clear that there are some players like Romero clearly has a foot out the door. He's probably off to Madrid in the summer. And okay, fine, bye, see ya. Uh, but some of the other guys, Basuma, I think is probably out this summer. He's another one who seems to be playing at like 50%. Um,
There's 80 million.
yeah, with 75 coming from Romero or
No, I think you get 20 for Basuma.
yeah, that you know, it's just that's the sort of thing. That's why I really appreciate Tell and Bergval and you know Decky with his industry. Those are players who, even when we're up against it, you can see that they're driving, they're trying their hardest. You know, and I
I
even
think Pedro Porro's like that too.
yeah, I even called out Madison last week because I saw that from him finally.
Yeah, I
Um,
think he's finally healthy.
yeah, it's
He's
just
trusting himself.
it's got to be frustrating, right? Because you're out there and you know Madison in particular, he's been getting you know what like 70-80 minute stints when he starts games, and I'm sure he's frustrated because he wants to be doing more, but because he's been so poorly managed this season, they're trying to keep him from getting injured again. Um, but you know, and look, I've been critical of him throughout the season as well. I think there have been times where he's been a little bit petulant and underperforming, and you know, rightly deserved to be benched. But right now, I do think that there's a fire in him, um, and maybe it's reminiscent of his relegation with Leicester, where he feels like he needs to right a wrong and do something to make sure that that doesn't happen again. I don't think we're getting relegated, but you know, there's certainly some effort there, more so than I can say for players like you know Basuma, even Sar, who seems to be almost like offended that he's a substitute role now. You know, he doesn't want to put the effort in. He doesn't want to try as hard as maybe he did at the beginning of the season. Um, which is just it's rough, man. It's really difficult. I think Johnson at this point is exhausted. Um, especially because he's first to get abused when bad things happen, which yeah, how many times has he deactivated his social media this season? It's just a toxic situation all around. I think barring a miraculous win in Europe, I think most of the players are going to be looking for summer where they can hit a reset. Um, if we do win Europe, I don't even know. I feel like I need to make some kind of a weird bet, like with the Winx kit that I had to buy. Like if we win Europe, I have to do something absolutely ridiculous. Um,
uh,
we'll think on that. We'll sleep on that.
okay, I've
Because
got some
it's a
ideas.
it's a great question. What sort of ridiculous thing would be worth winning Europe? Like, do I get Ange tattooed on my knuckles or something if we win Europe? Uh,
Steve, I'd hate to kind of end your working career by having Ange tattooed on your fingers.
we'll think about it. We'll think about it. And as we're thinking about it, Mike, we can also think about something else, and that is, hey, Mike, what you drinking?
Well, Steve, forgot I had this. Forgot I had this.
What's
It's
Mike
called Il
drinking?
Centro. I'm going to do this for our Italian goalkeeper.
Oh God,
It
Il Centro by.
is Il Centro by Spyglass Brewing. It's an Italian Pilsner.
Oh, I was gonna say Guillermo Vicario, but I guess Spyglass Brewing it is.
Italian Pilsners. Italian Pilsners are generally um, overly hopped um, German Pilsners. They're essentially the same thing. They use a little bit different malt bill. It gives it a drier, breadier kind of cracker type of a taste, so it's a little bit lighter. Um, it's kind of like prosecco is to champagne, if that makes any sense.
Hey, I've got champagne right here.
It's champagne of beer. That's right. And we can go ahead and talk about that champagne of beers because Steve, um, it's a really good beer. Miller High Life is a really good beer. However, the correct vessel to drink that out of would be
The
the
skull of my
bottle.
enemies.
Would be the bottle,
Oh,
the skull of your enemies. Yes, um, or they have like a little stubby bottle too. Like
oh
I think
yeah, I've
they're
seen
like
those.
little 6 ounce bottles. Those are great for like a brunch beer, if you will. So I've got this Italian Pilsner Il Centro. It's got like a 1950s Italian scene on the label. Kind of cool, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
neat.
yeah. I like my fizzy yellow beers. Everybody knows that. I also like my IPAs.
Fizzy
It's almost getting to the
yellow.
point where like I'm getting to like the double IPAs and stuff. Like, whew, I'm gonna have to think about retirement pretty soon.
Retiring the IPA.
Me retiring from the IPA. So there we go.
Oh wow,
Fizzy,
yeah.
yellow, bubbly, effervescent. Nice looking soapy head on there, right? Uh, Good looking beer all around. Smells nice. Smells really nice. Let's take a picture of this for the kids.
Smells well, not for the kids. That would be inappropriate.
Well, yes, children should not be drinking under the age of 21.
It's yeah, illegal is the word.
Illegal. Um, so yeah, like I said, more bready, crackery, like a saltine cracker. Um, Fresco. But they're like overly hopped. So like this is a dry hopped version of Italian Pilsner. So dry hopping is uh, part of the process where it's in secondary fermentation. They just throw a bunch more hops in there to kind of absorb the oils and impart the hoppiness, the bitterness of the hop on the back end.
Interesting. Well, Mike, while you're sipping this, I've got some fun data to share with our listeners. So, I just upgraded my phone, and with it, I got a free year of Google Gemini, which means that I can use it to analyze our spreadsheet. And man, some of the insights that it has provided. First, I need to call this out. Uh, Guess accuracy. My guesses so far since we've been doing this have been the closest to Mike's actual ratings on average by 0.01. So
Wow.
that is yeah, pretty
Wow.
damn close. Tristan is actually at a minus 0.04, and Brian comes in dead last with minus 0.12. So yeah, he's got a, you know what? It's because he keeps blowing us off for, oh, in-laws, oh, work.
They,
Yeah,
I
you know
mean,
what? Have
fair.
less of a life.
To be fair to Brian, he is a big time banker. Um, I don't know if that's actually true. Um, he his in laws are from Kansas, so they have to fly quite a ways. Possibly have some sort of layover in DC, which is scary enough, um, because all bad things and planes happen at Reagan International Airport, um, which I will be laying over when we go to New Orleans in a couple of weeks. Um, but this beer smells great. It's really sweet. It's really sweet. It does have. It doesn't. It's not overly hopped. Like Saz hops are generally what's used. I don't even know what's in this. I wonder if it says. It does not. But they're generally made with like Hallertau and Saz hops, which are like German hops. But Saz hops aren't like huge blow your face off like Pacific Northwestern American hops. They're used in German lagers, Dunkels, um, black lagers, pilsners, Czech pilsners. Like pilsners are always a good beer if you're just trying to have a beer.
Oh, I'm well aware of that.
Nice and sweet. It's not going to blow your face off with hops. It's bitter. Um, it's crisp. It's clean. Like I said, it's bubbly and effervescent. I really like the beer. It's
Yeah,
5%.
5%.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Sorry,
bad.
5.1%. 5.1.
Oh, 5.1. All right, all right. Well, I've got my guess locked in. Let's see if I can keep my average strong.
Okay, Steve. Um, I am going to say 4.1.
Yes! Yes! That is a 100% on the nose guess. Oh, this is what you get, Brian. I miss Brian.
Oh man, you're great. You're great.
Miss Dave too. Tristan
Yeah,
is still alive, right?
Tristan is alive.
Okay.
Remember he texted at one point.
I no. I don't
He
remember
texted us
half
at
of
one
the
point
shit that
last week.
happens.
He texted us at one point last week. I know that he's been having some stuff going on at work, so
Well, that's fantastic. I also have to share this bit of analysis, courtesy of Google Gemini. I don't think this AI understands what this spreadsheet is trying to do, because it seems to think that the bad beers, are because of players like Serge Aurier, Tanguy Ndombele, Davinson Sanchez, Ghost of Danny Rose, and Gio Lo Celso, which, according to Google, all brought you beers that were rated very low. So, as if you had another reason to dislike some of these players, they're the reason that you have shit beer sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, like this is an unexpected it's an unexpected over 4.0 beer. It's really tasty. It's really sweet. Like I want to sip on it.
Yeah,
This is
and
something
which
I want to
Spurs
have like
player
as
would
a
you wanna
dessert.
sip on?
I don't even know if it's a player.
Unexpected.
It's an Italian that has brought us players. That has brought us good players.
Oh?
Mm.
Uh,
Don Fabio Paratici.
oh, so not a player, but we're still going with Big Fab.
That's right.
Gee, Fabio Paratici.
That's a
Thank
little
you
on
for
the nose.
decking.
It's a little on the crooked nose, if you will.
Hey, you know what?
I'm not saying he has mob ties
He
because
brought
we
us
know the mob doesn't
Becky,
exist.
who is and has been my favorite player for a couple of seasons now.
Who's this?
So yeah, I highly rate Paratici. Um,
As as one of your favorite players?
well, one of my favorite players by association.
You
Uh,
know what? He is a player in this game we call Tottenham Hotspur.
yeah, just one that had some criminal issues. But who hasn't had a run in with the law, right? It's becoming more and more common these days, it seems.
I'll tell you a story another time about that.
All right, so this has been Hey Mike Il Centro by Spyglass Brewing, a 4.1 rated Italian Pilsner.
Haven't done one of
Um,
those yet. An Italian Pilsner. Italiano.
Italiano. Was that racist? Should I not have done that? Did we just
Yeah, it
lose
might have
our
been a little. I don't know if it was racist, but it was. I mean, it's definitely a little stereotypical.
I'll cancel myself. Sorry, fellow millennials. I'll do better. Anyway, so
Damn, I could have
yeah,
used. I
we've
could have
already
used
mentioned it a
Galini.
couple of times. We've got Europa League coming up um, on Thursday, and honestly, depending on the result of Europa League, could change what we think going into the weekend. So let's just focus on that for right now. What are you expecting taking a 1-1 draw into Germany in a must-win game that likely has Ange's job on the line?
All right, so I don't. We're not going to get what we saw today, right? Um, I expect Decky to start. Um, I honestly expect him to start. I think the guys that you see out there, that you saw out there today, that started today, are likely not to start. With the exception of maybe I think Matty Tell starts on the right hand side for Brennan. Um, you're going to see Pedro Porro out there. You're going to see Destiny Adogi. Mickey Van de Ven's going to be out there. Romero's going to be out there. Um, Bentaker's probably going to start. But is Matters going to start or is Bergvall going to start? Do we need Matters to come on for some legs at the end? Be creative at the end. Um, it's going to be Mr. Toad's wild ride, man. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that um, Frankfurt is. After watching that first match, I don't think like they're not a huge pressing team. They're gonna let the ball kick around, hope they can win something in midfield, and then attack. I mean, it looks to me like the game is kind of moving to back to that kind of counter-attacking type style of football. Strong midfield. Like this is a type of game that I like to watch. That I when I first started watching um, professional soccer, this is where the game was. Win the ball in the midfield, be strong in the midfield, put in good tackles. I fell in love with Musa Dembele, right? I mean, we had strong players in the midfield, Christian Eriksen, right? Creative players who could progress the ball. Um, for the even more creative players up front. So like you're not going to see that type of a thing out of Spurs as they build up from the back. It's just been very slow, right? Um, so I'm hoping that with Decky there, you're going to have a stronger player in the midfield that can drop back and receive the ball, um, either with his either with his back to goal or with his or facing goal. So I mean, Decky is a guy who can also play on the right hand side. We know that too, right? I mean, if he gets the ball onto his left foot, he's going to be dangerous if he's in and around the box. Um, so Decky, I think is going to be a key. I wanted Odebear to be a key for these two matches. Unfortunately, he got hurt. So, um, I fully expect Son to be back and healthy and ready to fly. So it's going to be an interesting match. I'm not going to put a number on it, but I think Spurs come away with a win.
You're way more optimistic than I am.
I just feel like Steve. It cannot be the same type of
It
game.
can't get worse.
No, it can get worse, but I mean it can't it can't be the same type of game we saw today. It just won't be. You're going to see different players. You're going to see a combination of players who are used to playing with each other. I think it's going to be fine. Um,
I
I want to see Matters. I want to see Matters and Decky starting in the midfield together with possibly Bentancur out there.
yeah,
Even
I
though
don't
Bentancur was garbage today.
yeah, well, I mean, our entire midfield just seems completely non-existent most of the time.
Yeah, let's just spend $300 million and get like 3 Rodris and be done with it.
Problem solved. Yeah, we'll just clone
Problem
Rodri.
solved.
It just sucks, man. Frankfurt's home record in the competition. I mean, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a very difficult
Oh, it's
game.
going to
There's a
be loud.
lot on the line.
It's going
I
to be a
just
violent situation on the field for the players. I mean, violent and as far as like what's happening inside their heads and in their ears.
yeah. Yeah, I am fully expecting Ange to be out of a job by the weekend. I just don't know. I've completely lost faith in him and honestly in a lot of the players too. I just don't know. I want them to prove me wrong. I really do. I want them to show up for this game and treat it as if it were a cup final. Um, I maybe this game, kicks something into drive for them. Maybe the whole plan was to focus on Europa and give it 150% or whatever mathematical impossibility they want to throw out there. I'm just not feeling as good as you. I think we probably get bounced, and honestly, in the Spursiest way, on an embarrassing penalty kick situation.
Jesus Christ, Steve Stradamus again.
This is what happens when I don't have adult supervision to keep me from spiraling. Where is Brian? Where is Dave? Where is the ghost of Nikki Winks? They're nowhere to be found.
I know it's scary and odd. When it's just the two of us left to our devices. We need a calming influence, somebody in the middle that can. I kind of wish we had Tristan here because um, I think Tristan checked out of Tottenham Hotspur for the rest of the season. So
You
hopefully we'll
think he
get him
would
back
calm
on,
us
and
down?
hopefully we'll get him back on in the summer, and when we do our monthly podcast in the summer. I might
Yeah,
do more. I might do more in the summer. I just might do Mike only podcasts. Who knows?
hey, here's your weekly update on what's going on with Vermont Green. Uh,
Yeah,
Look, there's a positive. There's
that's
something
called.
we can look
There's a
forward to.
podcast that does that too.
Yeah, but that podcast doesn't have.
Steve.
Yeah,
Steve can be an occasional guest. I mean, we're gonna need Steve.
yeah, we'll see about that.
We ca-
They all
we
say
we cannot continue to rely on bad internet connections and a doctor's husband.
a doctor's husband.
Nothing
Uh,
against Tyler, but they're not listening to this podcast. So
why not? Do they not like us? It's me, isn't it? He hates me. I knew it. That
Yeah,
bastard.
he doesn't hate you, but he doesn't like Tottenham.
I stand by what I said, that bastard.
That bastard.
So beyond Europe, looking we've got what, 7 games left in the league too
Do
this
we have
season.
7? Is it 7? I thought it was like 4.
We've got Wet Spam, Liverpool, Brighton, in no particular order. I'm just trying to think of who's on the list. Um, I just know that I don't feel comfortable about any of those games and wouldn't be surprised if we
We
lost any.
definitely have Liverpool. So Nottingham Forest and Liverpool are next. So um,
Oh, we're fucked.
Champions League teams are next. Um,
Lost,
and then
lost,
and then we have 4 more games. So we have 6 games left. We have Brighton, West Bam, Crystal Palace, and Villa.
lost.
We could beat Crystal Palace. We could beat Wet Ham.
What Spam we might be able to beat.
I think we could beat Crystal Palace too.
We'll see. We'll see. They've been in fine form.
No, we'll see
Nottingham
what
is
happens. Anything can happen in the Premier League. It could be a fun time. We could end up with 18 points out of the next. We could go undefeated for the rest of this season. I'm thinking positively, Steve.
Who are you and what have you done with the real Mike? Is
I've
that
got
beer
no,
that
I've
good?
got nothing else left. I mean, what else do we have left? But to think positively.
We've got that 17-year-old center back who's lighting it up in Belgium.
That's true. That's true. So that's another thing we could talk about. Maybe on the next Wicked Spursy is like the fact that we have built a team for the future, which is 5 years down the road,
Hey, the
but not
U17s
necessarily
won the
now.
Premier League Cup.
What's that?
The U17s won something.
Yeah, like we did last year, right? I mean, we had 3 teams that won cups last year, that won trophies.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I should start saying that I support Spurs under 17 team. Um, they seem to do well.
Join us next week when this becomes a Wrexham podcast, because there aren't probably
uh,
300 of those in America now.
yeah, it's a little unfortunate. I do think, has Leicester been relegated yet? Are they officially done? I don't even know.
No, they're not.
Uh, well, it's
Because
got
they had a draw over the weekend, right?
yeah, it's got to be getting close though. Um, I think Ipswich is the one team though that I really wish could have stayed up, but at this point, I feel like them staying up is would be at our expense, so I don't want that.
Well, anyway, I think it's final thoughts time, Steve.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Um, I can start. I am actually, you know what? I'll start with some positivity.
Hmm.
I have all my refereeing assignments for the spring season. I get to do 13 games between May and like mid June.
Where you'll be doing them on your own as a single referee, and
Most of them, 2 games, I will actually be part of a referee team as the assistant ref.
so you're doing some U14s.
Yep. I've got 2 U14 games and then a mixture of U12 and U10.
Are any of them with my son?
I don't know.
You can be like, knock it off, Popovich.
Yeah.
Lucas doesn't ever say a word.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna treat it, you know what? If it happens, I'm gonna treat it the same way I would every other game. Just red card all the players that give me lip.
That sounds like a great idea. What about dads who stuff money in your pocket?
Oh, you guys get the gold card. It's different from the yellow card in that it allows you special privileges. You can like punch somebody in the face from the opposition and I'll look the other way.
Oh
Um,
wow.
No, I'm actually really excited for it. It's something. It's the one thing in soccer that I have not done. I've coached, I've played, I've never refed, and I'm very excited to start for the first time ever. May 5th, Cinco de Mayo is my first ever game. I'm pretty excited for that, and I will be alone. They were supposed to set me up with a mentor, but they never did. So
Yeah, because that mentor would be a 14-year-old kid.
I just all I can think of is that one episode of The Simpsons when Grandpa Simpson is working at the Krusty Burger. He's
With
got
the
like
kid
a
with the zits, yeah.
yeah. That's pretty much what it'll be like. But no, it's I just you know me. I like being involved in the community. I like being able to help out, especially in events where kids are concerned. Because kids are better than adults. You know, adults can be mean and cruel and disappointing, and fascists. Kids are just joyous and they've got great ideas and they're interested in fun things. I am very much looking forward to being able to, because at that age group, right, it's like, yeah, I'm calling fouls and keeping the rules of the game, but I also get to help tell them like, this is why the foul was called. Let me explain what you can do next time,
Right,
like
yeah,
they're
the U10s are great for that. Are
yeah,
great for that. And you know what, and I'll tell you what, parents definitely appreciate a referee who stops and explains why this happened to these kids, you know?
yeah,
Versus and there are some parents, and you'll get into like tournament situations too in your future where there are parents who, like me, will be like, what the fuck? That wasn't out, as a kid is dribbling down, or when you call a foul throw, Um,
yeah, and then I'll give you the finger and tell you to get lost.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I actually don't do that. I did do that the last tournament, but they were grown ass men refereeing the final of that tournament. So
Well, that's good. How about you, Mike? What kind of final thoughts do you have?
listen, I'm gonna kind of stray away from Spurs right now, but I do want everybody to know again. Check out the world famous Vermont Green Football Club. We have matches coming up in May here. We're gonna be starting soon. I actually have just started a New England Roundtable monthly podcast on the Blazing Musket podcast. Blazing Musket is a website that does it covers New England soccer. It used to be all New England sports, but they just now focus on soccer. And I'm part of kind of a roundtable group of four different clubs that are represented. I represent the Vermont Green Football Club, and we talk about New England soccer as a whole, the state of the USL and the MLS. It's a fun time. The folks that I'm on with are professional writers. So obviously, I wouldn't consider myself a professional podcaster, but I'm we're a hobbyist podcast, right? Um, but I do get to talk Vermont Green. So Vermont Green's coming up soon. We got some really exciting players that are coming up. Players that probably be just because of their age are still playing in USL two, but are going to be and will be eventually big time professionals. Tonight on my United Green podcast, I'm actually um, I'm actually getting to interview two, well, three professional players that came from the Vermont Green initially. Gavork Diarbian, who's playing in MLS two with New England Revolution two right now. Who he came for to us for a very short time. He was way too good for USL two, and went right from USL two to MLS two. Reed Fisher, who was drafted last year, has had um, has had three bench showings and actually got into an MLS game with Toronto FC. Um, and let's see, Zach Zenge, who's coming back to Vermont Green for another season this year to continue his development through the Columbus Crew. And then finally we have Nate, the great Nate Silvera, coming on with us too. So it's going to be a big Vermont Greens legend podcast roundtable. So if you guys are like into local soccer, if you're into um, the USL, anything that hates on the MLS, please follow us at United and Green Pod. Um, but also go out and search out the Vermont Green FC. It's a great time if you're from this area. If you're not from this area and you're traveling to Vermont this summer, get out there and check it out. Like, local soccer is what keeps this sport alive, especially local community-based soccer keeps this sport alive in the United States. Um, and it just keeps growing and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And Vermont Green are going to be on to bigger and better things soon.
We hope.
We know.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah,
That is
so I
interesting.
guess that's it. That's the end. We've made it. We somehow did not, you know, fall into a void, spontaneously combust, any of the bad shit that could have happened. We have survived.
We
And
did continue to talk negatively, but we got a few
yeah,
more weeks. For me, a few more weeks of this left. So,
despite all the negativity, I am still coys, 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 coys.
and
Don't be an asshole. And Mike, final thoughts for us.
final thoughts, guys. I know we talk a lot of shit on this podcast, but um, it's getting to be summertime. The nice weather's coming, so I want everybody to just start thinking about cleaning out your garages and getting ready for all those fun summer activities. And when you're doing that, just be safe. And as always, go out there and make sure that you always, always, always protect your mental health. And if there's somebody that's struggling, help them protect their mental health.
And
You're gonna make me do it. I'm not doing it. Tottenham Hotspur action. It's fantastic. We're good.
awesome. Now I got to jump onto D&D.